Hey guys, welcome back to this chaotic little book corner I have going on here. My name's Acacia. I am so excited to be back. I will let you guys know that I am so grateful for the support and the love that I've seen from so many booktubers. I will link as many as I possibly can of you who have given me some shout out and support and love down below in the bar. Big shout out to Mercedes. She has been nothing but supportive and absolutely wonderful since I asked her to look at my channel. I am so blessed and I feel so excited, and I think I may have told her that she was more exciting than Katy Perry on Twitter. Actually, I'm sure I did, and I meant it 110%. She is someone that I really aspire to kind of get to her point in my channel and to get that kind of depth and love and passion that she has. So I'm so blessed and so excited, and I'm so ready to make you guys proud and to make this booktube channel into something impressive. So here we are today. We're doing my November wrap up. I've done 4 fiction books, 1 nonfiction book, 2 short stories books, and a collection of poetry. And we'll start with that, actually, the collection of poetry, which was The Exhibit by Lauren Eggert Crow. And it's hard to explain poetry as a synopsis sort of thing. This one is a beautiful piece of literature. I highly recommend it to anyone who likes something a little more deep and dark and a little more challenging, I guess would be the word. If you like poetry, this is a great piece to pick up. I don't know if someone who's new to poetry would completely be as enamored as I was, but they might be. This might be the one that gets them into this. If you're somebody who is curious about this, I will put it in the easiest way I can. Imagine that you're walking through a museum and you're looking at exhibits, and the exhibits are more about the emotion and the feeling that they evoke, and you're seeing the emotions and the feelings and the evokement of you and humanity, but it's all in this just flowing, ongoing feeling, and you feel like you're in this museum and you're almost in a circle and you just can't get out of it, and you are sort of stuck, but you're not, because you love being there and you don't want to leave. That is Exhibit. Imagine your favorite exhibit in a museum and put emotions in it, and then just talk, and then just see how long you want to be in that space. That's The Exhibit. That's the only way I could explain it. I gave it a 5.5 out of 5 stars, and I will read it again, probably multiple times. I love this. And the cover, can we just talk about cover love right now? Because there's something so beautiful about this book, and it's already got some good love to it, and I feel so blessed to have found this and to have picked it up. And I will admit that Jen recommended it, and I ordered it 2 minutes after I finished her video. So if that's any indication of what Jen does to you when she recommends a book, that would be it. The Book Thief. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's by Marcus Zusask. The concept of this book is a strange narrator, and the narrator is actually death. And it follows a young girl named Liesel Memminger, and she lives in Nazi Germany right as the Nazis are coming into power, and it's her story following through what happens to her in Nazi Germany as she is living as a foster child with 2 parents who she is starting to love more and more. And she is there as a foster child because her mother was a communist, and in those days communist was almost as bad as being Jewish. So she's been taken from her mother, she's lost her brother, and that's where the book starts. And then it continues on. There's some really beautiful moments in here of family and love and trust and honesty. There's some really horrific moments in here of the darkness and the evil that came with Nazi Germany. It's an important book. It's a strong book. I only gave it 3.5 stars because I didn't reach for it when I had the opportunity to reach for a book. And that's kind of a bummer. I like when I feel the urge to reach for a book, and that kind of affects how I rate them. If I don't reach for it immediately, I feel like I'm not getting into it. So what I did with this was I picked up the Audible, and the Audible actually did help quite a bit, especially because you're almost following death around as he's watching them, and that makes it a very interesting thing to hear. I listened to it as I did yard work, which made it a lot quicker outside as well, and in the fall with the changing of the leaves and the temperature, it was a really nice thing to listen to. I would recommend this as a fall to winter read, as it is one that you're going to get kind of cozied up with, and it's going to be a little darker and feel kind of heavy. So please give this a read if you like to read about Nazi Germany or anything like that. It's not a bad read. It's actually very wonderful. It's just a lot to take in. It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini is an extremely important book. If you know anyone with mental illness and you're really not sure what's going on in their head, whether it be depression, schizophrenia, anything to that effect, this book is for you. I think it's a really easy way to kind of ease into what mental illness might feel like to a person outside. This book begins with a young man named Craig who is in high school. He is just gotten into one of the most prestigious schools in New York City, but unfortunately he finds himself struggling and feeling more and more depressed until finally one day he calls 911 because he feels as if he's going to commit suicide, and he commits himself into a mental ward. And this is his story, which is semi-autobiographical, I believe, of Ned, but not quite. It is about his 5 days in the mental ward over in New York City, and what happens, and what he sees, and what he finds. And it's about friendship, and love, and acceptance, and truly, truly an amazing book and story. And I will tell you that on here, it's actually very important. The picture that you see, it may seem kind of weird, but Craig is a wonderful artist in this book, and he designs maps in people's heads to explain what's going on. Please, if you haven't picked this up, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, 4.5 sometimes, but all in all, 5.5 stars, and I think you should definitely pick this up. Oh, I can't even. This book, FishNet by Kristen Innes. Look at it. I am so in love with this book. I was so obsessed with this book. I read it in 2 days. I couldn't put it down. It felt like I was in a different world. It was one of the first times that I've ever looked at the sex worker industry and been like, oh yeah, people actually choose this, and they decide to go into this with their eyes wide open and say, hey, I want to work in this industry. Go figure. This is a beautiful book. And the concept of it is a young girl named Rona walks out on her sister Fiona a few years prior, and Fiona has been trying to track her down for years now, and she finally gets some answers and starts to track down her sister. When she realizes that she's been working in the sex industry, she begins to find out more about herself and others around her. It is a phenomenal book. It's a good sister read, but more than anything, it's a good story. It's deep, it's meaningful, it's important. I think that this is an extremely important book. I don't think enough is said in terms of how much of a dark world the sex work industry can be, but I think at the same time, some people pick it. It's beautifully written. It's extremely well done. I can't say enough good things about it, and I feel like just giving you the synopsis doesn't even begin to give you the information you need. I gave this 5.5. I mean, I gave it that extra boost because it was incredible, and I am so excited to own it and have it, and I probably will buy this for at least 2 other people that I know for Christmas, because I just think everyone should read this, especially women, just to kind of get a little more information about something that we all feel a little bit uncomfortable about, and just really start to talk about what the sex work industry looks like. This I started on the day before Halloween. I was hoping to get through it on Halloween Day, but I just couldn't. This was an amazing book, though. The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I gave it 4.5, 4 stars. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It just didn't do it for me. I'm really not a big zombie person. I did pick this up because of Jen saying that it was Walking Dead meets Matilda, and I can actually completely agree with that. I thought it was a really heartfelt book, and I don't really want to give anything away. You need to pick this up if you have any interest in finding a new apocalyptic world twisted on its head with children and adults not telling them what's going on and trying to find out a mystery and trying to understand why people are doing what they're doing. It's a really good indication of what humanity is capable of when they're given a world that has no rules, and it's even more indication of what human emotions are capable of doing and who they are capable of touching. Give it a read. It's really wonderful, and if you want a good scare, this is another really good one. I can't talk enough about this, but I would definitely say pick it up. It's a great book and absolutely one that I think almost everyone should read. This is our nonfiction, or my nonfiction, The Art of Asking. I will admit there's still a bookmark in there because I shoved it into my poor father's hands as soon as I finished it and said, here, you need to read this. And he is now slowly but surely eating his way through it because he doesn't understand yet what my point was. 5 stars, 100%. Wanted to go out and make things and design things and get beautiful. And actually, Amanda Palmer is part of the reason that I started this booktube. She was like, create, do things that you want to do. And I was like, I'm going to start a booktube channel. So I did. And it's all about her talking about how everyone struggles with learning how to ask for anything from anyone. And we should all ask, and we should all need help, because we do all need help. And we should never be ashamed of it, and we should always feel proud of ourselves for wanting to make something beautiful and feeling good. And all in all, be a better human, find a way to be a good human, and do it. Everyone should read that. Period. Short story collections. We're going to start with this one, Don't Try This at Home, by Angela Reedman. I gave this 5 stars. I had a pretty good 5-star rating month, I guess. Thank you, Mercedes, on this one. Mercedes actually got me into short stories, which I'm super excited that she did, because I never thought I could get into short stories. I always thought I needed a good novel, but this is a phenomenal way to kind of break up what I'm reading, especially when I have darker things going on. Although this short story collection is anything but light. I loved it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful little collection. I have to admit, my favorite is the first story, which I believe everyone has talked about at least once, and I think it might be the title story. Yes, it's the title story, and it's absolutely wonderful, and I would definitely recommend this to anyone who enjoys short stories with a little bit of magical realism, a little bit of a light satire, and the feeling that something may go terribly wrong, but you're not sure what. And it really has a great way of turning family on its head, and friendship on its head, and love on its head. And if you like to make things get a little weird, you should try this at home. Ha, I made a funny. A Wild Swan and Other Tales. I picked this up, I think about a week ago, right at the end of November, and I finished it within a day because I had nothing but time on my hands, and I've actually restarted it again, just because it's such an easy little read. I think it's under 150 pages. It's about 130, 135. If you like fairy tales, buy this. But you have to be ready for things to get a little dark, morbid, awkward, scary, twisted, and slightly on the verge of inappropriate. I loved it. I thought it was a really interesting book. Michael Cunningham, phenomenal writer. I can't even begin to understand where he's been all my life, and I will be picking up The Hours very shortly as I've finished Mrs. Dalloway. That will be in my December wrap-up. I finished it on Audible, and now I know I have to read The Hours. This short story collection is absolutely wonderful, and I think the weirdest one to me, at least, was Poisoned, which is a short story about Snow White and the awkwardness that comes with the obsession of her being dead that her prince has. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because it's hard to explain a short story without giving away the whole thing. But absolutely pick this up. Give it a read. I would say I read it in one sitting and it was better that way. It didn't feel like anything was repetitive. It didn't feel like anything was overdone. And it didn't feel like anything was forced. So this I gave a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I didn't give it that extra oomph was because I wanted more. Don't fall. All right, so thank you everyone so much for watching my November wrap-up. I plan to make more videos again. I should have another one up within the day or two. I will be doing a rave review on this very shortly. The Singular Extraordinary Tale of Mirror and Goliath by Isabeth Bell. I just have 10 pages left. If you haven't heard me recommend this yet, because I was so excited about just reading it. Okay, so here's my premise, and I'm going to start you off with this, and then you can tune in later to get my review. Take London, take magical realism, take a child that has been taken over by a clock, twist it in with demons and angels and fairy tales, and then give it a little splash of Circumventing Fairyland and Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and put a cherry on top of that called mixed narration and time jumps, and you've got this. I know that may not be the best way to get you to tune into the next one, but trust me when I tell you, you need this book. It's easy, it's quick, it's got really huge print, and the chapters are super short. If you have no interest in reading this, you will change your mind after my review. I will do a spoiler-free review, which will be hard, but I will definitely do that, and I can tell you right now, it's a 5-star book. I will see you guys again very soon. I have several movies and videos that I'm ready to tape. I've done the prep work. If you have anything you'd like me to do, please leave your requests in the box down below. I'm looking for more ideas. I'm always continuing to try and get better at what I'm doing. I do have the A through Z tag done, and then I'm working on doing the Be a Good Human book tag, only solely based on books that are relevant to mental illness, but that give mental illness a better outlook versus making them look like the evil spirit. I'm extremely excited to continue this channel, and I will see you all again very shortly in my chaotic little book corner. Bye, guys!